we're talking about Ivan Toney as well. He's back this weekend. Decent. What do you think?
Yeah, I love Ivan. You know, I've always spoken highly of him. Feels like it's gone pretty quick, to be fair, but not for him. 8 months, you know, the interview we did last night. Think about what I love about Ivan Toney is he'll always say what he's feeling, and he doesn't sound robotic. And I think it's come at a good time for Brentford because, you know, a lot of people are saying they're not in a relegation battle, but they kind of are. You know, they haven't had a great season at the beginning, and Wermo did really well. Wissa okay. They were doing okay at the beginning of the season, and I think it's taken a bit of a weird turn for Brentford. But I think it's a good timing for him to come back in. You know, Brentford sitting 16th in the league. And obviously there's always going to be speculation about him moving. I don't think it's a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And I think as long as the Brentford fans see that he's committed to the club, I can't see him going during this window. But I think in the summer he will go. And ultimately, like he said, when you're a top player, you want to play for the top clubs. So, and I think there are a lot of top clubs that would be like crying out for a player like Ivan Toney. When we say top clubs, I mean, you look at like Chelsea, are they still a top club anymore? Do you know what I mean? Like there's a position there for him, I think, at a team like Chelsea. But then I'm going to say I always want players like him at Man United, and everyone says, well, you want everybody. Arsenal, I can't see him going to Arsenal though.
No?
Nah, they need him, but I can't see him going to Arsenal.
See, I find the entire conversation around Ivan Toney's future slightly disrespectful at this juncture. Not generally, because he is a very good player and lots of big clubs will want him and stuff like that. But he's just been banned for 8 months. And the conversation before he's even put his boots back on and got back out there in a Brentford shirt is where's he going to play next? You know, this is the club that has been paying his wages through no fault of their own. They've been left without their biggest asset, Ivan Toney, on a football pitch. And the comments that he's made this week regarding his future, he's already made them in the past, but I find them entirely disrespectful. That, you know, the comments should have been all about this week doing his best for Brentford.
Yeah, but he's been asked the question, though, Hugh. He's been asked that question. He's also said how much he's appreciating the fans, but as a player, that's what I'm saying. Would you want him to do a robotic answer like the rest of the players answer? But
I expect him to show a little bit more respect to Brentford.
I don't think.
Like I said, your employers have been waiting for you to get back out there on the pitch because you've been banned for breaking rules that you really should have known. I mean, he claimed he didn't know, but really should have known he wasn't allowed to place bets. And that might be water under the bridge, and he's done his time and he'll be back at the weekend. But ultimately, in the interview with Sky Sports, he says, it's obvious I'd like to play for a top club. Everyone wants to play for top clubs, fighting for titles and these kind of things. So whether it's this January for a club to come in and pay the right money, who knows? My main focus is what I do on the pitch, and I'll let the background work take care of itself.
What's wrong with that, though?
Because he's put it into the foreground.
No, but he's been asked that question. Was he supposed to say no comment?
Well, what are the headlines after your interview?
Yeah, but this is
Tell
the thing,
me, what are the
Hugh?
headlines after his interview?
Of course.
The headlines are, Ivan Toney says, I want to play for a top club.
But everyone already knows that.
And after his ban, immediately after his ban, he's gone and sat down with a Diary of a CEO podcast, and he's talking about individual clubs that he might play for in the future.
I don't see a problem. I like players that actually speak out.
So when you were playing, you got asked a question, Lianne, you play for, I don't know, you play for Arsenal at the moment, contracts coming up in the summer, or this club's been mentioned in terms of wanting you.
I play for every club in world football.
Chelsea want you. Chelsea want, yeah, okay, all right. Another top club aside from Arsenal is interested in you, and you go, yeah, I'd love to play for them. Is that what you would have said?
I mean, it depends. It's all circumstantial, though, isn't it? Do you want all footballers to sound the same? Do you want them to say? Listen. He's not said he's not committed to Brentford. He's not said that. But I think the Brentford fans know. He's actually
opened up the door to leaving in January.
Did you not think he was going to potentially do that anyway?
It's the 18th of January.
I don't care.
So but you might as well say, yeah, it might be my last game at the weekend.
Yeah, but I promise you, he'll probably bang in a couple of goals. Like he's not the type of player. Whoever Ivan Toney's playing for, he will do a job.
It would have been interesting had he said, more interesting to me had he said, look, what will be, but I'd like to stay here and fight until the end of the season to make sure Brentford stay in the Premier League.
So a generic answer that every footballer would give.
Would that have been a generic answer?
That every footballer gives. Do you really think? Like Thierry Henry said that, and then he left and went to Barcelona. You'd rather them just say it and then they're lying and they're not telling the truth.
I do think that if you're going to create headlines around your future, you're not really, respecting your current employer. Listen, I love Ivan Toney, and we all know that there's a chance he's going to move, but Brentford have said he's not for sale in January. So
that doesn't mean that a club can't still come in for him because he's not for sale.
No, listen.
The price tag will always talk.
I know that. You know that. But when you're a player, you're doing an interview, you're high profile at the club's tweeting images of him. He's back, the return, the king, and all this nonsense. And I'm like, are you listening to his interviews, Brentford? Because I'm not really sure he wants to be there. You love him.
Nah.
Why?
He wants to be there for now. He does.
For now until the 31st of Jan.
Could you hold it against him? If he wanted to leave, he probably would have already gone, Hugh, had he not have had this ban. Let's be honest.
Would I hold it? It's an interesting question. Would I hold it against him if he wants to leave? No, I wouldn't. But would I expect any player, not just Ivan Toney, to kind of respect the opportunity that you were given at a football club? Yes, he's given the football club a lot as well, so I'm not going to say it hasn't gone both ways. But to say during the last 8 months where you have not been able to play for the football club, the least you can do before you've even gone back out there on the pitch is just say, listen, the club said I'm not for sale, that's it.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.